Hello and welcome to Following On. Myself, Jon Norman, alongside as ever Neil Manthorp. Actually, this is the only time we're alongside each other because when we have commentary duty, we pass each other on our way to commentate. But that's not really relevant. What is relevant is that Ben Stokes is out. There is no Stokes. Ben Stokes does not play as a batter, as a bowler or as a captain. And that is a huge blow for England ahead of a test match that they now need to at least draw, but England don't do draws, so they need to win.
They do need to win. He was very emotional
or not lose.
In his press conference, wasn't he?
Honestly, I thought he was, I know I might be over-egging it somewhat.
On the verge of tears?
I thought he was on the verge of tears. At one point, when he was asked about the seriousness of what could eventuate with his shoulder, I thought, whoa, he's going to go here. And it was almost like he just had to take stock and then go again, as we do.
He knew that it was serious, but he still gave himself the morning. It's a bit like having your leg in a cast and saying, "Well, I'll just go down there." No, you never know. He knew. He absolutely knew, and he was told.
This morning he knew.
Yeah.
Even yesterday.
But it delayed the decision.
Even yesterday, there was discussions taking place about Stokes and interviews and yada yada yada. This decision was made today, and in some ways, it was almost taken out of his hands, I think.
He was told by the medical staff that he said in his own words, "I could have played and nothing might happen, but in the worst case scenario," and then it's just the eyes kind of misted over, and he said, "In the worst case scenario," and his voice trailed off, and he said, "You don't want to think about that." So it is about the Ashes. I mean, he also said, John, interestingly, that it was always going to be a question of putting his feet up after the series. I don't know whether that was official that he wasn't going to play any more competitive cricket this summer, but he confirmed that. He said it's always going to be a question of feet up. But he then went on to say attention should now be placed on those who are going to be on the field. He said that's the advantage of having a really strong squad with lots of depth, and we've put 11 players out there who we believe we can win the game. It's 4 changes.
Let's just rewind a second. I have the feeling, and I don't know this, I'm not sure actually, whether it was about the Ashes. I think maybe it could have been even longer than that.
It's a grade 3 tear, and that usually takes between 6 and 8 weeks to recover.
Hang on. It's a grade 3 tear now.
Yeah. Oh, you mean if he'd played purely as a batsman, it could have been even worse?
Yeah, or a bowler.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was ever going to bowl. I mean, he spoke about playing purely as a batsman.
Yeah. But it's not about where it is now that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a problem. That's a 6-7 week. That's 6-7 weeks out the side. That is, if nothing else happens. I don't think that's what this is about. I think this is something really, really bad could happen here. And we're not just talking about the Ashes, right? It's that bad. But either way, it's for Stokes to step away.
For once, I'm hoping that your conspiracy theory is wrong.
It's not a conspiracy theory. He's literally been told nothing could happen, right? But it's still a grade 3 tear, right? It's not that that's going to fix itself. He's been told by the doctors, if you injure this anymore, it could be
over. Really
bad, right? That's what I'm saying. So I don't even think it's just about the Ashes, because even as it is right now, he's pushing the Ashes. It's like eight weeks, right? So what are we now? End of July. So we've got August, September. Well, they pretty much go end of October, start of November. Anyway, what does this mean for England? Because Ollie Pope now has got to come in and captain Josh Tongue for the second time, right? Gus Atkinson hasn't played a test. Jacob Bethel has never played a home test. No Stokes to call on. No spinner. No Archer for the X Factor and bowling to left-handers, and no Cass.
4 changes. I mean, they've got. What'll be interesting is whether Jacob. Well, there's that. But whether Jacob Bethel is actually used as a part-time spinner. They've got that and Joe Root, so they've got 2 guys who can bowl half a dozen overs of spin if absolutely necessary. But
then if they are used, then you'd probably feel like things are going
badly.
Or we've just got another pitch that like we've had all series. In this one, I've just got a feeling might have it's got more grass on it.
It's got a lot more grass, and Ben Stokes did say that as well.
He did.
he was asked by one of the Indian journalists, wasn't he, whether he was expecting there to be a bit more pace and bounce here, and he that whimsical look, and he said, "I've been expecting that since day one at Headingley."
Let's be honest. I don't know this, but you'd be forgiven if you're in the England camp to be pretty hacked off with what you've had to play on. England go round the world and they play on pitches that are suited to the home team. Pakistan,
Yeah.
right?
You've got the
1-0
blowtorch
down,
on that one.
get the blowtorch and those big kind of like looks like the back of a hovercraft.
Industrial heaters, weren't
Right?
they?
That's how other teams go about it.
Well, Harmy said that the pitches are England's kryptonite. I mean, they do them absolutely no favours whatsoever.
And you can imagine that they're a bit hacked off about it, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's only their careers on the line.
Yeah, and they can't say anything about it publicly, but you could see that, you know, Stokes from that, I'll call it whimsical, but it was a cynical whimsy, wasn't it? I mean, he is fed up with it, and we've heard, word always gets out from the change room. We talk a lot about how sometimes England make inappropriate statements, but they've been pretty good at keeping their thoughts about the pitches guarded. I mean, Stokes said after Edgbaston, well, it was a bit more of a subcontinent type pitch, and he was lambasted for stating the obvious.
Is it lambasted? I always thought it was lambasted. Sorry, carry on.
We've been to the subcontinent enough to see what a subcontinent pitch looks like. I mean, the only thing they're missing from the Edgbaston one is it didn't turn sideways at the end of day 3 and 4. But
I'd like to see a bit of spin.
Well,
a bit of something other than.
It's too late for that now. It's too late for that. Unless we get Kuldeep, we're not going to get.
We're not going to get.
How many of the 3 deeps are India going to pick, John? If they really want to win it,
one.
Akash,
I think it'll be Akash. I've got a horrible feeling.
Arshdeep and Kuldeep.
Won't see Kuldeep. I don't think we'll see Arshdeep. I think we'll see Akash Deep.
And Prasid Krishna back?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've just got a horrible feeling that it's just going to be Krishna in for Kamboj and Jarrell in for punt.
So you've got
and Akash in for Bumrah.
You've got Shardul Thakur bowling again. He's 125 kilometre an hour medium paces because he can bat at 8.
I mean, Chris Wokes wasn't bowling that much faster, and has probably got a worse batting average. Sorry, Chris. I am playing massive devil advocate. Of course, you'd rather have Chris Wokes. I mean, that's a silly thing to say.
He's the only one of the attack remaining.
Also, he's right-hander, and he one of those. Jarrell, is Jarrell right-hander?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they've got a couple more then. And also, there's no Archer.
I know. Well, Jamie Overton's going to do that role, isn't he? Is Jamie Overton bowling quick this year?
Jamie Overton's pushing 88, 89 miles an hour, and he's coming in at 10.
Yeah.
Have England picked a team to draw a test?
They had a very, very strong batting tail in the last Test match, and some people said it was the strongest they've had for 20 years. Now they've got a brand new tail, and it's just as strong with the bat. Well, Josh Tunker bat, he's coming in at number 11.
You know, they say that when you break your arm and it refixes when you're a kid, it actually comes back stronger. That's what they've done. Shall we do Groundsman, Gautam Gambhir, Triple G? Watch. Anything happening? He's out. Ooh. That was a fuss about nothing, really, wasn't it? I tell you what, there is more interest in this Test match. I mean, can you imagine if India had folded meekly or heroically, like they did at Lords? I'm not saying they folded at Lords, but you know what I mean. Like 3-1, want to play. No one really cares that much whether Stokes is missing. Obviously, they care about the injury itself. They don't want that to be a problem for him individually or collectively, but. You know, Bumrah definitely doesn't play. You know, the balloon, the air has been released from it. But this Test, did we ever get to the bottom of if India win it, do they retain the Tendulkar Anderson Trophy, even though it didn't exist before this series? Is it like a clean slate?
It's a new trophy.
So, but India won last year, right? So they do retain it, even though it didn't exist before this Test series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So essentially, 2-2 is a win for India.
Yeah, absolutely. Any time you get to keep the trophy in your cabinet, that's a win. No, just ask Ash's followers.
I'm just thinking it's a different trophy, isn't it? Maybe it's new rules. Maybe it's like, we start again, clean slate. with a new trophy.
Let's just
Although
quickly.
it's the Pataudi Trophy, right?
Yes.
But it wasn't when it was in India, was it? It was only here.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's kind of.
I think it's in the Wisden Trophy cabinet now. The Groundsman issue, right?
Yeah.
India made the mistake of not treating Lee Fortis, the head groundsman, with the kid gloves that you need for groundsmen all over the world. I've had the misfortune, for some reason, of being assigned to do pitch reports for years and years and years. And you have to, every time you get anywhere near a pitch, you have to treat it as if it is a very
200-year-old relic from a museum that you can't touch for fear of breaking it.
A 3-year-old toddler who isn't yours, with an overprotective parent. In close proximity, you have to be very, very careful.
So
you have to pay lots of compliments.
Yeah.
You have to make sure if you know that you have to make sure you know if it's a boy or a girl. You don't want to say like, "Oh, isn't she pretty?" and you get it wrong.
That's
and
okay.
It's a boy.
No, that's okay.
The other way around's worse.
Yeah,
yes.
the other way around's definitely worse.
So and India were. They weren't wearing spikes, and frankly, they weren't doing anything wrong. I mean, the Indian batting coach, Sutanshu Kotak, was brilliant. He's the one who came out with that comment about it is, after all, a cricket pitch. It's not a 200-year-old antique that breaks if you touch it. That was the way to handle it. It was really good. He defused everything. Gautam Gambhir comes from a very privileged background, and
and Lee's just a groundsman.
That's exactly what Gambhir said. You are just a groundsman. He used plenty of F words and said, "You don't tell us what to do. You don't go beyond your station. You are just a groundsman." So that was very heavy-handed and high-horsed from Gautam Gambhir, which the Indian media were very quick to say was also a little smacked of casteism.
Well, which country's got the worst class problem?
Well,
India or England? Discuss in the comments.
Both.
Yeah.
Which is worse? I don't know.
Because cricket's such a working class sport, isn't it? In this country. We all drop our H's.
So you've got Lee Fortis saying, "I'm going to report you to the match referee," and Gautam Gambhir saying,
"We are the match referee.
We control the match referees." Storm in a teacup, wasn't it?
It was. It gave. I mean, I don't think it made quite as many
all they
headlines
wanted to
here
do
than
was
it did in India.
Look at the pitch and to try and gauge whether to play Kuldeep Yadav, which they're never going to do anyway, so you didn't need to look at the pitch.
Yeah, Kuldeep. Or Cool Box. That's what it was, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the other one. See, the Indians were told they couldn't take their esky, their cool box, their big box of drinks, they were assigned 3 of the centre pitches to practice on, and they wanted to take a box apparently full of drinks and ice and put it next to the nets, and they were told they couldn't do that. And then there was some sardonic comments from the Indian media pointing out that Lee Fortis probably weighs 4 or 5 times 10 times what a box of drinks cost. But as we all know, with the basic knowledge of physics, a stationary object makes a greater indentation than any moving object of much greater weight. And so if you do put it... why are we getting into this?
I have no idea. I thought this was a cricket podcast.
It is.
Shall we talk about cricket?
Yeah, let's do that.
Who's going to win? Or draw? I mean, there's so many things in this test.
Fresh bowlers, I think, might just make the difference.
They've both got fresh bowlers.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So Gus Atkinson,
yes,
coming back on his home ground, and Jamie Overton. It is home ground for him now, isn't it? He's been here 3 years.
4 Surrey players.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is going to count for a lot. And it's been a long, emotionally draining tour for everybody, apart from the spectators, the supporters. And I think that India will do very, very well to avoid one foot on the plane syndrome.
Right.
Are they up for that one last big fight? And because they haven't made the running in 4 test matches in a row, you can't expect them to change their playing style now.
No, and this is where I think it's actually going to play to their advantage.
Oh.
So, what did you tip at the start of this series?
We both went 3-1, didn't we?
No,
we both went 3-1, and then we said, hang on, there's not going to be any draws.
No, we didn't. I went 2-2. And then I said, I could see it 3-2 either way, but I said 2-2.
I changed mine to 3-2, didn't I? Well, I had 3-1 to England, and
I don't know why I'm taking my shoes
off. You said, how can there be a draw? And I said, no, good point, there won't be a draw. So I went 3-2 England.
I'm pretty sure I went 2-2. Anyway, so I've got to cling on to that now and explain why it's going to be 2-2. But I've been, relatively critical about India's approach to this series. It has been exactly the same for every single test.
Counter-attacking.
Batting time.
Yeah.
And getting ahead of the game and putting pressure on the opposition that way.
What is that commotion going on behind this? What are the Indian team doing?
I don't know. It's certainly more interesting what I'm saying. Essentially...
They're not going to change their playing style.
They're not, and it could actually play to their advantage because they've got ahead on numerous occasions only for England to come back. And a lot of the time it's just down to the consistency of England's bowling, the quality of England's bowling on tired tracks, and the captaincy of Ben Stokes. Trying different things, always with a plan, never ever letting the intensity drop in the field, ever. Apart from, maybe the last 20 minutes at Old Trafford. I think England are really, really going to miss that. And it's going to be very difficult for England's bowlers to take 20 wickets, I believe, if India go with the same approach. Or it could be difficult. They might knock them over with a new ball. That happens. But if they don't, who's going to take the wickets? Now there's no Stokes. Now there's no Archer. Now it might be Atkinson comes in and does exactly that. Maybe it's Jamie Overton. I'm not sure. I think this could be India's game. England will definitely bowl first. I'm not sure. I think India will probably bowl first. But England winning the toss for the 5th time in a row, bowling first, that will give India the opportunity to get ahead of the game. If they do, we'll see.
Final word from me then. Don't discount the Stokes effect, because as he confirmed to us a little earlier, he's going to be right here, right front and centre, right alongside Ollie Pope. And, he's one of those cricketers.
Yeah, but he's not
John.
going to be bowling.
No, I know. I was just going to say, he's one of those very, very few cricketers who I think can have an influence when he's not actually in the 11.
Well, he's not the only one. Can you remember we were at a game when who was captain? Hashim Amla was captaining. And it was in South Africa.
Yeah.
And Dean Elgar was at slip, and he turned round and he caught the sight of Graham Smith walking around the back doing some media, and Graham Smith just went like that to him, and Dean Elgar turned to Hashim Amla and said, "We should get a spinner on." And sure enough, spinner came on and got the wicket.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here and following on. We will be back and broadcast. We won't be alongside each other, but we will be broadcasting live commentary throughout this test match. Will it really go another 5 days? I hope it does. I want it to go past tea on day 5. And then we'll be able to say we commentated on a test that went to every single session of every single day. If nothing else happens, I'll be happy with that. But anyway, thanks for joining us here on Following On.